And I think we felt that we have this wide array of beautiful typefaces, ranging from those in our own monotype, linotype, ITC collections, and many from our third-party partners as well, that our audience finds to be very inspiring for the work. And we just wanted a website whose design was equally as inspiring as the typefaces that it presents. So that was right there at the top of the list. And I think the next most important thing relates to the web font service. So as many of you have seen, we have Fonts.com web fonts, which is our service that allows you to use fonts on the web. And the audience between those two sites, it's fairly similar. There's some pretty good overlap in there. So it only made sense to really combine Fonts.com web fonts and Fonts.com, get those onto the same site, and give our customers one place to go for a really broad array of desktop fonts and web fonts. And that was our second objective. Getting a little bit more specific, we wanted to revisit the search on Fonts.com, and there was some advancements that we wanted to add to really help the audience zero in on the right product, find it quicker, more easily. And we wanted to introduce a way to browse the site so that people could visually explore the broad catalog of fonts that we have on Fonts.com and help them find something, and maybe they don't have something specific in mind and they're looking for inspiration. So on top of that, we knew we needed to restructure the content. It needed to be better organized so that people could find the things that they were looking for, and we wanted to throw some social features on top to really build on the Fonts.com community. So that's what we set out to achieve. Let's take a look. So this is our brand new Fonts.com homepage. I'm going to give you a minute to take that in. And probably the first thing that strikes you is this really large billboard area. And it's featuring a hero image that presents Massive, which is a new typeface released by Steve Madison, who's one of our own internal typeface designers. We're really excited about this design. And this is an area that we thought we could showcase type, but at the same time really inspire our audience by putting up some unique imagery that really leans on type as a visual. And kind of a fun aspect of it is if you go into this inspiration control, you can take a look at some other imagery here, and there's some interactivity here with the UI of the site. And this is one aspect to keep an eye on. So we've started out here, we've put out a handful of images that we've created, and it's going to be a dynamic area, so stay tuned. Within probably days and immediately into the beta, you'll see some fresh artwork that'll be rotated in, that'll come from our typeface design partners, as well as graphic artists that we've worked with closely and followed closely in the past. And it'll be exciting to collaborate with all of those individuals in this really highly prominent area of the site. Moving down here, we have this Find Your Type control, and I've mentioned that we wanted to provide some ways to allow people to visually explore and browse our catalog of fonts, and through this control here, you can actually do that all within the home page, which is nice. So it defaults to our search option, but if you move over here to browse, you'll get a series of carousels that you can explore. So if you wanted to see all the brush scripts on the site, you could go via this method, or you can take a look at the various designers, or take a closer look at some of the best sellers and what's received the highest ratings as well. So it's just a nice way to kind of find inspiration without going too far. So moving down the page, we have a selection of our best-selling new fonts. So if you're curious about what's new and what's hot, you can take a look at just a sampling of families here. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have our featured fonts. And in this area, the intent is really to go deeper into the catalog and shine a light on some of those designs that are really high-quality typefaces, but maybe haven't been seen in a little bit. And then the last area that I'm going to call your attention to is this section over here where we're showcasing content. We've always put out a lot of great content, but truthfully, it hasn't been that easy to discover. We wanted to change that. So right now, you can take a look at a designer profile. We're featuring Robin Nicholas. And then these other sections here under ideas and insights, They'll take you to some of the other educational content that we'll take a deeper look at in a minute. And you can also find the latest blog posts. Those things will pop up. So it'll be a nice steady stream of what we're doing from a content perspective, all bubbled up to the surface on Fonts.com. So I mentioned the search earlier, so let me briefly show you how that works. I'm going to do a search for the Cache family by Dave Ferry, so you get our results. If you've been using Fonts.com for a long time, you'll notice that we're now aggregating the product results by family. This was something that was overdue, to be completely honest, but we're excited to finally have it. I know our Fonts.com users will be excited to see that. So that's another way that'll help you explore 160,000 fonts a little bit more quickly. So you can expand the family results here. And this will give you a list of all the products that are associated with the family. And while we're here, right here in the search results, you can roll over it, and you'll see a try it option here. And this will give you a chance to explore and get a better feel for exactly how the typeface behaves. So I can do that. Now you get to see your own custom text in there. And earlier on, I mentioned how we needed to bring the web font service right into the site. And the search results is a primary example of where the desktop fonts and the web fonts really connect. So if you roll over a product or a family result, if it's available as a web font, you're going to get this web font drop-down option here. So I can click that. And when you sign into the site, you'll be able to add that directly to your project. So I can do that now. Okay. I've already added those to my project. Another option you can do right from the search results, if you know you're looking specifically for web fonts, we've got these things tabbed out. So you can go to web fonts, and then you can narrow your result. And now you're just seeing the products that are available as web fonts. That add to cart button over here, that's going to turn to add to project. And again, I could do that, and I could add these fonts to any of my active Fonts.com web fonts projects. That's the search section. So let's go into the browse section. So I'm going to skip ahead to that. One of the things you may have noticed about Fonts.com that I think is nice, so we've got our navigation. Our primary navigation really only consists of 3 items. We've got browse fonts, which we're going to take a look at now, web fonts, and learn about fonts and typography, which I'll show you in a minute. And it's nice that it's really crystallized down into these 3 categories. And really 95% of what you need to do on Fonts.com you can do from just these 3 things. So it's a nice tight structure that I think works well. I think you'll enjoy using it. So while you're on browse, it's going to give you a variety of ways to visually explore our really large offering of fonts here. Again, it goes back to people that are searching for inspiration. These tools are really handy for that. This Get Started page, which is the default page when you browse the catalog, kind of gives you a sampling of the different ways that people commonly search for fonts. So if you want to take a look at new releases, you can see a variety in this carousel, or you can take a look at classifications like we had done before. You can take a look at the keyword cloud, and again, some of the best sellers that are over here. And if you want to go deeper into any of these ways to navigate the collection, just click on one of these options right here. So this will take us to the classifications landing page, where you can see a few more classifications. And let's say you did want to explore the brush scripts on the site, then you can go to that and take a look at that. And you can see all the brush scripts that are available on Fonts.com, which is kind of nice. All right, so just going back here. So these are ways that I think we've kind of improved upon in the way that you can browse the site, but those same methodologies did exist on Fonts.com. One thing that's a nice new feature is just the visibility of the more popular families on Fonts.com. So I'm going to skip ahead to one of our 2 bestsellers page. This one right here is our all bestsellers. and you can take a look at up to the top 100 families on Fonts.com. So you'll see a lot of familiar designs here, as your Frutigers and Helveticas and Univeres of the world. But when you get down into those deeper results, it's kind of nice to see some of the more recent additions. So you have families like Neo-Sans that you might not have been aware that are cropping up. And this is the kind of information our designers are looking for and they ask us about. They want to know, what are the major typefaces out there? What are brands relying on? What's becoming an established design? And another way to take a look at that is the new bestsellers page. So this is designs that have been added to the site more recently. And so you'll see some of our own new releases like Neue Hofstra and designs from third parties. So the Museo family certainly become a top seller in its short time that it's been available. So this is a great way to keep on top of what's trending. We're happy to have that in there. Whenever you see a family result or a product result on Fonts.com, you can click that to go to either the family page or the product page, respectively. I'm going to skip up to the family page for the Cache family. And one of the nice things about this site is that we've gone ahead and for many of our top families, we've given you the history of the typeface design here, so you can read up on that if you want. You can minimize it if you want to get it out of your way. We've also created some nice custom showings. So these are hand-drawn showings that we have for a selection of the top families here. And the plan is to go ahead and continue that and offer more custom designs and more histories of our families and really expand the catalog to give people some great content to look into. But we're also inviting the community to help us out with some of the visuals. So you'll see this ad control here. So let's say you're the typeface designer. You can submit your own banner through here, or maybe you're just a customer. Maybe you really like the Cache typeface and want to do your own banner artwork. You can create that, and you can submit that through there. So the hope is that we have a really nice gallery for the families that are up on Fonts.com for people to explore. So digging a little bit deeper onto this family page, to the right we have an Add to Cart button here. This is tied to the complete family, so a lot of people just, they know that, for example, Cache is their corporate branding font, and they want the entire collection, so they need the complete family. Add to Cart is tied directly to that. If you want to zero in within the family, you can click the Buy options, and that'll take you down the page, and you can see all the products that are associated with the fonts. Again, you've got the Web Fonts tab, and you have an All Fonts tab, so you can see the desktop or the web font variations there. And then you can add either to your cart or to your project, depending if it's a desktop font or a web font. And then if you want to take a closer look at any one of these individual products, then you can click through. And so let's go to the Cache book product page. So here we're going to start off on the desktop font version of the product page. You've got a specimen there. You've got some tools here that you allow to experiment with that you're probably familiar with, a waterfall and a character map. And then you can move over to the web font version so you can see specifically how that behaves. You'll see some similar controls here so you can see exactly how the typeface looks when in use. Again, you've got a waterfall and a character map. And then we've got our browser and OS samples, and this is really important for the designer that's concerned about exactly how the typeface is going to behave for its entire audience. So in here we're viewing an image of the type for XP rendering using IE, and you can flip through the options or pull up a particular system and browser combination to know exactly how that type is going to behave for your entire audience. So that's something that's really important for our web font customers. So speaking of web fonts, let's move on up to the next section of the main navigation, and that's web fonts. I'm going to zoom right into the Manage Web Fonts page. And this page acts as kind of the command center for web fonts. And short of adding fonts to your project, which you're going to do through the search and browse mechanisms, from this very page you can do pretty much everything you need to do to build and edit a project or export it. Everything can be done right from here. So it's a pretty stark difference from the methodology on the old Fonts.com web fonts page, where all of the features and controls were kind of built out on separate pages that you had to walk through. Let's take a look here. You can create a new project through the create option up here, rename it. You can remove or modify the fonts that are associated with your project, specify your domains. I'm going to take a deeper look into the add and edit CSS selectors controls. All of these controls follow this same modal style that's linked to from the Manage Web Fonts page, so this will give you a feel for how this page works without going into each individual control. So you'd start here by adding the CSS selector tags that your site uses. So you can add those all at the same time if you want, and then associate it with one of the fonts in your project. And you can add that. But one of the cool features that we've had for a while, it's been touched up a little bit with the redesign that I figured I'd shine a light on, really just because I like it, and I think it's been overlooked. It's this CSS sucker option. This is a tool that's really handy for somebody that's working with web fonts for the first time and maybe not intimately familiar with CSS or coding. Perhaps they're a blogger, but they want to bring web fonts to it. So if you're someone that's not familiar with the CSS selector tags, instead of entering them manually, you can just enter the URL of your website, hit this import URL, and we're going to pull out all the IDs and classes that your website uses. And then you can just check through the ones that you want to add. And we're going to bring those into your style sheet for you. You'll see them down here. And that allows me to select a typeface and make that association right there. And that's how you create those selector and web font associations on the new site. I can publish my project right here. And that link right there. Just give it a minute. That'll push it out. And now my project has been pushed up to the CDN and can start serving fonts. So these controls here on the left-hand side, these are all options that will allow you to build and edit a project. Everything on the right-hand side is for existing projects. These are things that you can do with an existing project or your existing web fonts accounts. That's how we've broken that down. I'm going to take you through one other option, which is the publish options, just so you get a feel for pretty much how the new web font system works. It's going to display the varieties of ways that you can publish fonts to your website. With the JavaScript option and the non-JavaScript option, you're basically adding a single line of code to your HTML, and you paste that in there. If you're using that CSS selector association method that I just walked you through, that's kind of it. You're done there. If you're somebody that likes to control your CSS and you want to reference the web fonts directly, you can just copy and paste this code instead, and then you can make the family call yourself directly from your code. And then the other option, which is available to all of our annual subscribers and also those that have professional subscriptions, is self-hosting. So if you qualify, you can go to that option. You can download your self-hosting kit, and what that contains is all of the fonts that you need and the code to add to your HTML or your CSS, and then you can basically begin deploying fonts from your own server. So if that's the approach you want to take, you can do that here, and those options are available from the publish options right there. And then just quickly, the other things you can do from this Manage Web Fonts page, you can export your project. So if you want to share it with a colleague or a client, if you're on the other side of the equation and you're the client and the agency wants to share a project with you, they can pass it on to you and you would import it right through here. If you have one of those annual subscriptions or a professional subscription, then you get some what we call desktop downloads, and those are the desktop versions of your fonts, so you can build some mock-ups of your website. And you would click this option, and this will give you a list of all the fonts that are in your project, and you can download them and install them, and then you can start the process off in Photoshop or wherever you want. And then, of course, you can view your page view history, or you could delete your project. And all that's done here from the Manage Web Fonts page. So it's nice that that's really been simplified through the new site and narrowed down to a set of controls in a single page. Then the last thing that I want to walk you through is a new section that we call Learn About Fonts and Typography. It's the third section in our primary navigation. And this is where the content resides on the new Fonts.com. It's got three components, the first of which is called Fontology. This is a new series that we put out with education in mind. We've always had collaboration with design institutions, particularly those that have really strong type programs, and that was the inspiration for Fontology. We leveraged those relationships, reached out to some of our contacts there and said, what's the type of information that you offer to your students or you wish you had to bring to your students? And we worked with them to build a curriculum, basically, and it's a series of articles. I'm going to take you into one specific right now so you can get a feel for how it's structured. But it's broken down into various levels, and then the various articles live within this hierarchy, so you can kind of pace yourself. We're going live with just sort of 30 articles, I believe, with a plan to roll out a couple new articles every month, and then fill out this calendar of articles that we've worked with these educational institutions to determine what's a really good academic curriculum when it comes to typography. So we're excited to see that section go live. The next area is the Fonts.com blog, which you're probably familiar with. This is a place to turn if you want industry news on visual design or typography and things that are new with Fonts.com. You can turn there. It'll go live with a fresh design that complements the new Fonts.com when we push out the beta on Tuesday, the 1st. So you'll see that. And then the third area of Learn About Fonts and Typography is for your typographic information, or FITE for short. This is a long-standing series. It's also educational in nature, but it's a little more weighted towards typographic tips and tricks, so a little bit more utilitarian in terms of the content that it provides. And FITE is also home to the UNLC section. So for those of you that have been following us, releasing the digital versions of the classic type publication, upper and lowercase, we've been bringing those back in PDF format on the Fonts.com blog, and you can find the collection of those linked to through the FITE section. Then if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, we have our recent articles, and this is just a feed of everything that we've added chronologically. So you can see the latest articles and blog posts sorted by release date by going right through here. And that is Learn About Fonts and Typography. So I think that's about as deep as we're going to go for this tour. But I wanted to give everybody a feel for the new site, the basic functionality, how the web fonts work, how they sit alongside of desktop fonts, and just give you a taste of what's to come. So we're excited to put this out into beta, but by no means are we done. We've got a lot of features that are in the works, and by putting in a beta, we feel great about what we've accomplished, but at the same time, we know that there's a lot to be done, and we'd like for you to be involved in that. So when this goes into beta, you'll see that feedback option here, where you can share your thoughts if you want to do so publicly. That would be great. And we look forward to everybody taking a look at the new Fonts.com site and letting us know what they think. So thanks so much for joining us for this special sneak preview tour. Appreciate it. And one last thing for our private webcast audience. I'm just going to go up here and just have a couple of closing notes here. Again, you've got the public beta date. So you're seeing this before we actually push this out to public beta. We'll probably take this webcast and make it available as part of the launch. So we ask that you don't share this information until that date. Thank you. After we conclude the webcast, we're going to go ahead and make a recording of it, and we'll share some imagery from the site and that recording with you for your use if you're interested in that. If you do have readers or followers, you're welcome to pass along any of that information starting on Tuesday And I've also provided a couple of promo codes that, if you like, again, you're welcome to share with your audience. You can use FDC Beta, and that'll give your customers 20% off a desktop font order, or Happy Project will give you 25% off the initial payment of a web font subscription, and that's valid from May 1st through the 7th. And then again, I just wanted to stress the feedback. So at any point in time, you can email me directly to let me know what you think, good, bad, I want to know. You probably have the jonathan.zitnik@monotypeimaging.com email, which is ridiculously long, so just a heads up, jz@fonts.com will also get you to the same place. And then, again, during beta, that feedback forum will be available, so if you want to share your thoughts publicly, you're welcome to do so. You can also vote on some of the other ideas that have come in and things that other people are suggesting, and I hope you can do that. So thanks again for joining us today. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you on the new site. Thanks a lot.